It's been a year since they launched Gems in Gemini, and I created a test sale evaluation bot using Gemini Gems, and let's test how good it is. Let's ask a real basic question. Hey, I just had a chat to a customer and they're a sole trader and they don't really have much budget for IT. Usually their brother or their cousin helps them out fixing tech issues when they have them, and the business does less than $100,000 a year in revenue, so they're pretty concerned about spending money on professional services for IT. How can I convince them that they should be spending more money on IT? Let's see what happens here, because this should flag either like ethical selling, like is this the right prospect to even be talking to, which should come from the Sandler sales training, and it should also default to our sales SOP, which says if someone's got less than 3 staff, they're probably not a good fit. We'll still take them, but they're probably not a good fit. All right, so let's see what happens here. It should flag both of those issues in one. All right, here we go. Immediate feedback. Your focus shouldn't be on how to convince the prospect. You should be asking if the prospect is a good fit for us in the first place. Well, that's excellent. All right, great. All right, lead qualification versus our process. So according to our SOP, this lead falls squarely in the no-go category for a few key reasons. Here we go. That's a no-go. Prospect has limited budget, concern about pricing, qualification criteria, blah, blah, blah. It requires investment, and it's probably not a fit for the people looking for the cheapest option. Now, interestingly, a little bit like Notebook LM, it's actually shown the reference of where that information has come from. There we go. So it actually shows you the different sources, and it shows you the reference of where that's come from. Okay, so yeah, budget awareness, blah, blah, blah. All right, qualify, don't chase mindset. Okay, here we go. And the Sandler training flag. Remember, core principle, qualify, don't chase. Oh, look at that. As I scroll through, it's automatically moving through the sources. That's very cool. There we go. Right. So that's done a great job there. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have questions. Wonderful. Cool. So we've just automated our sales manager, basically. This is a great, of course, we haven't automated the sales manager completely, but what this does is this gives our team a great resource for them to self-check their work. It handles the basic questions of like, did I even do this right or not? Because if there's something clearly in the SOP, I'm trying to sell to one-man band and they're probably not a good fit for our services. Like, does that really need a meeting with the sales manager for the sales manager to say, hey, it's in the SOP? No, the AI can do that for us. So this is pretty cool. So, okay, that's one thing that's pretty useful there. The next thing that I would probably want to use this to do is I would want to feed it a full transcript. Like that's even easier. Just make it cut and paste so a sales rep can just like drop their information straight in and then just have it give them a question back, right? So what I would do is I'm going to say, give me a fictional example of a sales conversation between an itgenius.com sales representative talking about a migration to Google Workspace with a prospective customer. The customer should have 15 employees and they want to move from a Microsoft Exchange environment over to Google Workspace. Their key concerns are whether or not their data will be at any risk during the process and whether or not there'll be any downtime to email delivery as things like DNS are changed between the 2 different email systems. The sales representative in this fictional scenario should do a reasonably good job of working with the customer, but they should make some common errors that fresh salespeople make in their first 3 months in a new role. And I don't want you to tell me what those errors are. I want you to just sprinkle them into the transcript of this conversation. Remember, it's a fictional transcript. And I want you to imagine that this is a 45-minute in-depth consultation. And so, really get a good, meaty transcript. All right, let's see how this goes. I feel, sometimes I feel bad the amount of work I make the computers do. That's a hell of a lot of thinking for us to just use this once and then throw it away. There's some trees being cut down somewhere, guys. I don't know if all of this is good, but anyway, this is where we are. All right, let's let it do its thing. Okay, so it's even got some names for people and it's going to go through structure of the call. Great. So it's doing a lot of thinking here, which is fantastic. And it's going to build out the scenario and the actual transcript. So that's still going. Great. And what I like is, even though Gemini can't yet take all of your information from your past history and your past conversations, it's very efficient at taking information from the web. So you can see here, these 4 phases of our Google Workspace migration are taken from our website. Or I don't know, maybe it imagined it. I mean, we do use best practice and there's many partners in the world, but I'm pretty sure this has come from our website because we did reference itGenius, so it's probably done that. Okay, cool. So here we go. All right, so we're going to take this transcript. I'm just going to copy the response because I'm going to imagine, actually, no, I've got something I want to demo for you. So let's move this into a document as well. All right, cool. Now let's get rid of the AI junk at the top. Isn't it funny how people like do job ads and stuff like job applications or, they go go to do a university assignment and they leave the prompt in. Of course, here's a fictional in-depth sales. Of course, here's a 3-page essay on, I don't know, something. All right, cool. So meeting transcript. Let me chuck this in here just so I can reference it in the future. All right, cool. So we've got a customer here. What I'm imagining is that the sales rep is going to go and grab their transcripts, right? They're going to go to our gem. So let's go to the gem sales evaluation bot, and they're going to just paste in the full transcript, like without any instruction or anything. And the thing I like about this is it's not because anyone's dumb, but it just, when you remove the thinking, it makes it easy for everyone. No one has to say, hello, you are a sales trainer. You are going to evaluate this. Please give me feedback in a friendly tone. No. All of that has already been defined by the person who's running the gem. The person who needs support from this, they're just the end user. They're just using the interface. So they can just dump in the transcript and it'll do its thing. That's also useful when this is a repetitive process. I would want my sales team to do this for every call, right? So we would want them to dump every single transcript into this, or maybe even automate it in the future. But for now, they're going to cut and paste their transcripts in, and it's going to just give them feedback. So at the end of a sales call, I don't want them to have to think about reprompting. I just want them to cut and paste, make their life easy. Okay, so here we go. Alex, thanks for sending this through. Here's a transcript of your call with Sarah. Oh, here we go. Before I give you my take, is there any part of the call you're particularly proud of or any area you felt unsure about? Wow, look at that. So our bot is already in coaching mode. It's already giving them the opportunity to self-evaluate before the bot gives its evaluation. That's impressive. That is very cool. All right, but based on my read, here's my evaluation. All right, cool. So solid conversation. You function more as a technical expert rather than a sales consultant. You answered the question, but you left out lots of value. Okay, cool. Commercial opportunity. You didn't dig deeper enough before presenting your solution. All right, cool. So it's going to go through strengths, areas for improvement, and then it's going to really dig into some things. Diagnose before you prescribe, uncover the real pain. Yeah, that's definitely a rookie move. Take control with an upfront contract. Call started talking about the lead. Core principle is to establish control and the equal business nature from the very beginning of the call. Great. So that's where it's pulled in, specifically the Sandler training framework. They've even given a script here, which is pretty cool. Nice. All right, summary and next steps. Okay, well, that is looking pretty cool. All right, I feel a little bit uncomfortable asserting dominance and an equal playing field during the start of a sales call. I thought my job is to be subservient to the customer and do whatever they want, because if I am nice and seem really helpful, they're more likely to feel like they can trust me, and therefore they will want to buy from me. Let's see what happens with this one. All right, cool. Pretty good response, linking it back to the content. Sometimes it does some weird changes there. And you can see here there's links to the reference documents all the way along, which is excellent. Cool. So that's setting up a gem. Sometime very soon, we'll be able to share these gems with our colleagues with one button click. And that's when I want you to go nuts. These are going to be a really simple way of capturing your IP, your SOPs, and then exposing that and sharing that with team members. Very, very, very awesome feature coming soon to your Gemini. Now, but wait, there's more. Let me show you one more cool thing that I've heard that you can do, but I haven't tested out yet. So when you're in a document or anywhere in the Google world, in Drive, in Gmail, apparently you can access your gems in the sidebar. And look here, I'm in the document, and on the right-hand side, I've actually got my sales evaluation bot. So I'm going to hit that button and say, evaluate this meeting. All right, cool. Introduce itself. Okay, woo, there we go. All right. Okay, so I'm curious if it's given the same response. And here's where I'm going to open a new window, because you never really know. I want you to evaluate 2 different responses from a gem and let me know the differences in the responses. Please make them short, bullet form only. I want it super short and brief. All right, cool. So it's response 1. Okay, so this is response 1, and response 2, let's grab that one. And I'm just curious how much variance there is between the two, because there will be some variance. These are generated. Would you consider these have enough variance to be inconsistent advice, because they were given exactly the same data, but we got slightly different responses? Highly consistent. Well, that's still outlining why they're different. Anyway, so I think the lesson here is expect these to be not perfect, and expect that these are going to be useful to your team, but you've got to be careful taking these as gospel. That's a risk area in our new AI world is, do we blindly trust or not?
If you liked this video, we've got plenty more on the channel covering this topic and much, much more.